Hi, everyone. My name's Susan Jack. I'm a 28-year-old marketing executive at Sterling and Brooks, one of New York's top firms. On the surface, my life seemed perfect. A thriving career, a loving husband, and a future full of promise. But everything unraveled because of my in-laws. You killed it in that presentation today, James said, wrapping his arms around me as I stirred a pot of pasta. That's my husband, I thought, smiling. Cheerful, supportive. Everything I thought I needed. Thanks, babe. Sarah really helped me fine-tune the projections, I said, thinking of my mentor. This could finally lead to that promotion we've been talking about. With your talent, they'd be fools not to promote you. Sarah had told me earlier during our lunch break. Everything felt like it was falling into place until that Sunday dinner at my in-laws. Patricia, my mother-in-law, sat at the head of the oversized dining table, her sharp eyes locked on me. So, Susan, darling, she began with a saccharine smile. I hear a promotion is on the horizon. The salary bump must be substantial. Mom, that's not really appropriate, James interjected weakly, fiddling with his fork. Oh, hush, James. We're family, Patricia said dismissively before turning back to me. Speaking of family, Emma here has a brilliant business idea. Emma, my sister-in-law, perked up. It's a luxury pet accessories line, very exclusive. I just need some startup capital. Family should help family, Patricia chimed in. George, my father-in-law, nodded silently as always. I forced a smile. I'll have to think about it. This wasn't their first pitch. Last month it was a yoga studio. Before that, a juice bar. Each venture failed spectacularly within weeks. Back at work the next day, I was distracted, my mind racing. Everything okay? Sarah asked, noticing my distracted state. In-law drama, I admitted. They want me to fund another one of Emma's business ventures. Careful, Sarah warned. Start setting boundaries now, or it'll only get worse. But Patricia didn't understand boundaries. She started showing up at my office unannounced. Just happened to be in the neighborhood, she'd say loudly, ensuring my colleagues overheard. Thought I'd see if my successful daughter-in-law could spare some time for family. The whispers started. Must be nice having rich in-laws, a coworker muttered. If they only knew. That evening, as I reviewed a quarterly report, my phone buzzed. Emma, hey sis, about that investment. Mom says with your new promotion you could easily spare $50K. Family helps family, right? I showed the message to James. Maybe we should help, he suggested hesitantly. You know how Mom gets. James, this is getting out of hand, I said firmly. Your sister needs to stand on her own feet. Their family, he mumbled, avoiding my gaze. He fidgeted with his wedding ring. Something wasn't right. Susan, we need to talk, James said later that night, his voice trembling. I put down my laptop. What's wrong? I messed up. I owe some people money. A lot of money. My stomach dropped. How much? 200,000, he whispered, avoiding my eyes. What? I've been gambling. It started small, but it got out of control. Mom's been helping cover it. But now, the loan sharks are threatening me. Mom said you could liquidate your retirement account. It's the only way. I stared at him, speechless. The next day, Emma cornered me at the office. Mom says you're being difficult about the papers. We need access to your accounts. It's for James's protection too, she said with a self-righteous glare. Get out, I snapped. And don't come near my workplace again. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Jessica, my office rival, eavesdropping with a sly smile. That evening, I received a bank notification. James had tried to add Patricia as a joint account holder. Furious, I confronted him. How dare you share my private financial information? I demanded. They're just trying to help, James protested. Emma's business plan is solid this time. If you just... No, I'm not funding another failure, I said, my voice shaking. This stops now. The next day, Patricia was back, this time stationed near the accounting department, her voice deliberately loud. Such a shame about Susan. Always wondered how she could afford that new car, Patricia said, with an exaggerated air of concern. You know what they say about sudden wealth. Later, I overheard Jessica chatting with Emma in the cafeteria. Your sister-in-law handles some pretty big accounts, Jessica said, her tone conspiratorial. But those numbers, they never quite add up. My hands shook as I called Sarah. They're trying to destroy everything I've built, I said, my voice barely steady. Document everything, she advised. Every visit, every conversation. And Susan, check your personal accounts. Now. I did. My stomach dropped. Someone had tried accessing my retirement account 3 times that week. Monday morning, an email from HR hit my inbox. Subject: concerning reports. Mrs. Jack, we've received anonymous complaints about aggressive behavior, mishandling of client funds, and emotional instability. Please arrange a meeting to discuss. I knew exactly where this was coming from. Minutes later, my phone buzzed with a bank alert. Joint account transfer, $45,000 to external account. Heart pounding, I called the bank. Yes, Mrs. Jack, the representative said. Your husband made the transfer this morning. As a joint account holder, he has full access. I rushed to the bathroom, fighting back tears. That's when I overheard Patricia's voice echoing down the hallway, speaking to my biggest client. I hate to say this about family, she said in a hushed tone that carried, but we're all worried about Susan's episodes. The mood swings, the erratic spending. James is at his wit's end. Before I could confront her, chaos erupted in the conference room. Emma burst into my presentation, tears streaming down her face. How could you? After everything we've done for you, she wailed. You promised to help with my business. I took out loans based on your word. Now I'm going to lose everything. My clients shifted uncomfortably as security escorted her out. Across the room, I saw Jessica recording the entire scene on her phone. Within hours, the video was circulating through office email chains. That night, I did something I'd never done before. I went through James's laptop. Buried in his emails, I found the thread that shattered my illusions. Patricia, Susan's up for that promotion. Once it's official, we can start phase 1. Emma, you know what to do with Jessica. James, don't worry, baby sister. We did this with Rachel too. She never saw it coming. Rachel, James' ex-fiancée. I'd always wondered why she ended things so abruptly. It took me 3 hours of social media digging to find her. When she answered my call, her voice was cautious. Susan, James's wife, she said hesitantly. I've been expecting this call for years. We met at a cafe 2 towns over. Rachel's hands trembled as she slid an old journal across the table. They did the same thing to me, she said. First, it was small loans. Then, James's gambling debt surfaced. Patricia started showing up at my workplace, checking in. When I refused to give them access to my trust fund, they destroyed me. I lost my job, my reputation. I had to move states, but I kept everything, emails, recordings, bank statements. I've been waiting for their next victim to find me. My phone buzzed with another email from HR. Multiple complaints received regarding unprofessional conduct. It's happening exactly like before, Rachel said grimly. But this time, they picked the wrong target. I showed her my own evidence, screenshots of James sharing my financial information, recordings of Patricia's slanderous conversations near my office, bank transfer records, and Emma's staged meltdowns. There were others, Rachel revealed. 3 more before me. James's high school girlfriend, his college fiancé, even his first wife. They target successful women, drain them dry, then move on. Patricia orchestrates everything. That night, an anonymous email landed in my inbox. Inside were statements, photos, and recordings from 2 other women. Their stories mirrored mine. Minutes later, my phone lit up with a text from James. Baby, I know you're upset, but Mom's right. Family has to stick together. Just sign the account transfer papers and all this ugliness can stop. I stared at my evidence folder, now bulging with years of their schemes. They thought I was just another victim. They had no idea I was about to become their worst nightmare. The next morning, I texted James. Coming home now. You're right, we need to talk. Let them think they'd won. Let them think I was breaking. While they were playing checkers, I was setting up a chessboard. The board meeting was scheduled for 9:00 a.m. I watched Patricia and Emma stroll into the lobby, their faces smug. They had no idea they were walking into my trap. Before we begin, I said, placing 5 thick folders on the conference table, I have evidence of systematic harassment and attempted financial fraud. The board members leaned forward as I played recordings, displayed emails, and presented bank statements. Then came the testimonies. Rachel and the other women had agreed to record video statements. One by one, they shared their stories, accounts of being systematically targeted, harassed at their workplaces, and financially drained by the Miller family. Their voices, steady and resolute, painted a damning picture of years of manipulation. As the videos played, a commotion broke out in the lobby. Patricia and Emma, oblivious to what was unfolding upstairs, were approached by security. Their phones buzzed incessantly as the fallout began. An anonymous tip had triggered formal investigations into Emma's string of fraudulent businesses. Her investors were already pulling out, furious over the revelations. "Mrs. Miller, Miss Miller," the security guard said firmly, "please step away from the building. This is outrageous." Patricia shrieked, clutching her pearls. "I'm here to report my unstable daughter-in-law." My phone buzzed. It was a text from Rachel. "It's done. Police just picked up James at the casino. Loan sharks turned over evidence of his debts and threats." The board's decision was swift and unanimous. "Mrs. Jack," the chairperson said, his voice tinged with regret, "we owe you an apology. Your promotion to regional director is effective immediately." Later that afternoon, Emma's remaining investors stormed her office, armed with proof of her 5 previous scams. Someone had sent them court records showing she'd been taking deposits for non-existent luxury products for years. Meanwhile, Patricia's carefully curated social circle was imploding. Her country club friends began receiving emails detailing her decades-long involvement in financial fraud schemes, long predating James's gambling issues. Patricia's perfect plan wasn't just unraveling. It was collapsing in spectacular fashion. 6 months later, I sat in my corner office reviewing quarterly reports. Sarah knocked on the door and handed me a newspaper. "You'll want to see this," she said with a smirk. The headline read, "Local Family Faces Bankruptcy Following Fraud Investigations." The article detailed how James had lost everything to the loan sharks. Emma was facing legal action over her scams, and Patricia and George's assets were frozen while authorities investigated decades of financial misconduct. "Miss Jack," my assistant interrupted, stepping into the office. "There's a disturbance downstairs." On the security feed, I saw them, Patricia and Emma, attempting to force their way into the building. Their designer clothes were noticeably worn, their once luxury car now replaced by a battered old sedan. Security promptly escorted them out as they screamed about family loyalty. My phone buzzed with one final text from James. "Please, Susan, we're about to lose everything." I stared at the message for a moment before deleting it. Sometimes the best revenge is thriving while toxic people drown in the consequences of their own actions. Success truly is the best revenge. Now I have a question for you. What would you have done in my position? Would you have forgiven James and his family if they showed remorse to maintain peace, or stood your ground and exposed them despite their being family? At what point does someone lose the right to claim family ties? When is enough truly enough? Share your thoughts in the comments below.